The Martinez family Christmas dinner was an annual performance review. Every year my extended family gathered to exchange gifts and dissect my apparent failures. At 32 I was the only unmarried woman at the table, and my mother never let anyone forget it. "Look at this beautiful family," Mom announced, gesturing toward my cousins and their children. Sofia with her wonderful husband and 3 babies. Maria with her engagement ring sparkling. And then we have Isabella. 32 and alone. How sad. The dining room fell into uncomfortable silence. I sat picking at my mashed potatoes while my family exchanged knowing glances. Isabella's too focused on her little online business to think about what really matters, my sister Sofia chimed in. She spends all day staring at computer screens instead of looking for a husband. Dad nodded approvingly. Your sister has her priorities straight. 3 beautiful grandchildren, a devoted husband. That's success, Isabella. I'd heard this speech every holiday for 5 years. My family treated my e-commerce consulting firm like a hobby rather than serious business. They saw my modest apartment and second-hand car and assumed I was barely scraping by. What they didn't know was that my little online business had quietly grown into a digital empire spanning 3 continents. When I was 32, I already had 4 children, my great-aunt Rosa declared. Women today don't understand their purpose. Marriage and family first. My cousin Maria held up her engagement ring. Some of us figured it out. I'm getting married in June. Mom clapped her hands. Exactly. Maria understands what brings joy. Isabella, you could learn something from your cousin. For years, I'd tried explaining that my business was thriving, that I employed over 200 people across 5 countries. But every explanation was met with patronizing smiles and suggestions that I was making excuses. She's probably one of those career women who thinks she doesn't need a man, Uncle Carlos said. My daughter's friend is like that. 45, no husband, no children. Lives with 3 cats. The table erupted in knowing laughter. That's even worse, Sofia said. At least cats would be something to take care of. Isabella just has her computer and delusions about becoming some business mogul. Dad leaned forward. This online thing isn't sustainable. You need security, stability. A husband who can provide, children to give your life meaning. Look around this table, this is real success. I glanced around at my family, all nodding in agreement while systematically diminishing everything I'd accomplished. What exactly do you do on that computer anyway? Aunt Carmen asked. Sofia tells us you have some website, but nobody understands what you're selling. She helps other people's businesses, Mom explained dismissively. Like a secretary but online. Not really a career, more like a service job. I bit my tongue, remembering the 8-figure acquisition offer I'd received last week. The algorithms I'd developed were revolutionizing how small businesses approach digital marketing, but I wasn't ready to give up control. The point is, Sofia continued, she's 32 with no prospects. When I was 32, I was planning my 3rd child's birthday party. Isabella's planning what? Another evening alone with Netflix. Even my youngest cousin looked at me with pity. I was the cautionary tale, the spinster aunt who'd chosen work over love. I worry about her, Mom said theatrically. What happens when she gets old? Who's going to take care of her? Career women think they have time until suddenly they don't. It's not too late, Maria offered. Isabella's still pretty. If she lost some weight, maybe got a makeover, she could probably find someone. Plenty of men overlook a woman's past mistakes if she's willing to change. My phone buzzed insistently in my purse, but I ignored it. Any attention to my phone was evidence of my antisocial tendencies. The problem is she thinks she's too good for men in our community, Uncle Carlos declared. Always has her nose in business books, acting smarter than everyone. Men don't like women who think they know everything. Exactly, Dad agreed. Humility is attractive, Isabella. Pride comes before a fall. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd spent the morning reviewing reports showing my company's revenue had increased 400% this year. I employed people in 12 countries and was being courted by investment firms. But to my family, I was just a prideful spinster. My phone buzzed again, more urgently. Then the house phone started ringing. Someone's calling during Christmas dinner, Dad announced, returning with the cordless phone. How rude. But then my cell phone rang out loud, cutting through the conversation. The caller ID showed a number I recognized. Isabella Martinez? The voice was professional, excited. This is Jennifer Walsh from Forbes magazine. I hope I'm not interrupting, but we have urgent questions about the feature story we're running tomorrow. The dining room fell completely silent. Every fork paused midway to every mouth. Forbes, I said, putting the call on speaker. What feature story? The cover story about America's youngest self-made female billionaires, Jennifer continued enthusiastically. Your inclusion is generating incredible buzz. The business community is fascinated by how you built such a massive empire while staying under the radar. We need to verify details about your net worth and discuss next week's photo shoot. Dad's fork clattered to his plate like a gunshot. Did you say billionaire? Mom interrupted, her voice strangely high. Jennifer laughed. Isabella Martinez, founder and CEO of Global Digital Solutions. Net worth approximately $2.3 billion. The story focuses on women who built incredible wealth without traditional media attention. Isabella's been particularly impressive, scaling to 9 figures while maintaining complete privacy. Sofia dropped her spoon, splashing soup across the tablecloth. 9 figures. Actually 10 figures now, Jennifer corrected. That's why she qualified for the billionaire list. Isabella, can you confirm the European marketing firm acquisition last month? That pushed your valuation over the threshold. I looked around at my family's stunned faces. Uncle Carlos had turned purple. Maria's engagement ring suddenly looked insignificant. Mom was opening and closing her mouth like a fish. I can confirm that, I said calmly. Though I'm surprised you found out so quickly. Our investment community sources are excellent, Jennifer explained. Everyone's talking about how you built this empire while living so modestly. The story angle is the billionaire next door. Can we schedule the interview for tomorrow? Actually, I said, looking at my mother, I'm having dinner with my family. They're just learning about this. Oh, that's perfect. Family reactions are always wonderful. I bet they're so proud. The silence was deafening. 20 seconds of complete quiet while my family processed what they'd heard. Isabella, Dad said slowly, is this real? My nephew held up his phone. Holy crap, Tia, Isabella's on the Forbes website. It says she's worth $2.3 billion. Great Aunt Rosa grabbed her chest. Billion? With a B. Isabella Martinez, age 32, founder of Global Digital Solutions, my nephew read aloud. Quietly built a digital marketing empire serving Fortune 500 companies across 3 continents. Known for innovative algorithms and commitment to empowering small businesses worldwide. Sofia was frantically Googling. There are articles everywhere. Forbes, Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal. They're calling you a digital marketing genius and the most successful entrepreneur no one's heard of. Mom finally found her voice. Isabella, honey, why didn't you tell us? I looked around the table at my family, all staring with expressions from shock to embarrassment to fear. 5 minutes ago they were lecturing me about my failures. When would I have told you? I asked quietly. Between the lectures about finding a husband? During explanations about how my work isn't real? While you were describing my life as sad and meaningless? Jennifer was still listening with professional interest. Isabella, this is fantastic material. Would your family be interested in being interviewed? The personal angle helps readers connect. I don't think that's necessary, I said, looking at my mother's pale face. My family prefers privacy. Uncle Carlos finally spoke. Isabella, we had no idea. You live so simply. Because material possessions don't define my worth, I said. Unlike some people, I don't need to display success to validate it. Sofia was still scrolling. It says you employ over 800 people and donate millions to education programs for underprivileged women. The Martinez Foundation, I confirmed. I established it 3 years ago. Funny how none of you ever asked what I did with my money. Dad set down his wine glass with shaking hands. Honey, if we'd known, you'd have treated me differently? That's exactly why I didn't tell you. I wanted to know how you really felt about me. After I hung up, the dining room remained silent except for my nephew scrolling through articles. Finally, Maria spoke. Isabella, I'm sorry. We all are. We didn't understand. No, I said, standing up. You understood perfectly. You understood I was different, that I didn't fit your idea of what a woman should be. Instead of supporting me, you spent years tearing me down. Mom reached for my hand. We're family. We love you. Do you? Because loving someone means celebrating their achievements, not dismissing them. I picked up my purse and headed for the door. Where are you going? Sofia called. Back to my sad, meaningless life, I said. The one that apparently just made me a billionaire. The Forbes article ran the next morning with the headline, "The billionaire who fooled everyone, including her family." My family tried calling, but I was done seeking their validation. 6 months later, I expanded the Martinez Foundation to support women whose families didn't believe in their dreams. At the foundation's gala, a reporter asked if I regretted choosing career over family. I never chose career over family, I told her, looking at the room full of brilliant women I'd chosen to support. I chose to build a life that honored my potential instead of limiting it to other people's expectations.